I was sitting in my new casita in the high desert near Sedona. The air was so quiet, it felt sacred. I looked out at the red rocks glowing under the moonlight. It was the first night of my entire adult life that I actually felt peaceful. I took a single picture on my phone, just my mug of tea, the moonlight hitting the stone of the walled courtyard. I posted it to my private Instagram, the one with maybe 20 friends. My caption was simple, a key at last. 10 minutes later, my phone exploded on the table. It was a text from my mother, Sharon, in the family group chat. Her words were bright and cheerful, which is always a warning. Wonderful news. Orly bought a perfect getaway. It's such perfect timing. Evan and Chloe can move in by the end of the month, right? After Evan's startup officially failed. Have you ever felt like your success was immediately claimed by someone else? Let me know your story down below and where you're listening from. My name is Orly. I'm 31 years old. I live in Phoenix and I'm a data analyst for a tech firm. I'm good at my job. I find patterns in chaos. I take messy, complicated data sets and uncover the clean, simple truth hidden inside. In my family, I was the only one who ever did that, because in my family, there were only two roles. My older brother, Evan, who is 35, was the golden child, the son, the one with potential. He was the receiver, and I was the resource. I was the giver. I was the one who was quiet, competent, and responsible, the one expected to be useful. My whole life was a history of being erased. My achievements were never celebrated. They were absorbed into the family system and redirected to Evan. My wins weren't wins. They were resume builders for my real job, which was being Evan's unpaid, unacknowledged support system. But the most precise act of erasure, the one that defined our entire relationship, happened when I was 18. My great-aunt, a distant relative I barely knew, left a small education trust fund for me. It wasn't a fortune, but it was enough. It was my way out. My ticket to college without crippling debt. I found out about it in March. By May, it was gone. My father, Brian, sat me down at the kitchen table. He didn't ask. He informed me. He had that calm, reasonable tone he always used when he was about to do something unforgivable. Ali, he said, we've decided to temporarily borrow your education fund. Temporarily borrow. Evan has a brilliant idea, he continued. It's a sure thing, but he needs seed money. This is a family investment. We're investing in him. I just sat there. I didn't say anything. What was there to say? He wasn't asking permission. He was notifying me of a withdrawal. My money, my one escape route, had just been declared family capital and allocated to my brother. 6 months later, Evan's brilliant idea, some kind of dropshipping scheme for bespoke dog collars, went bankrupt. The money was gone. All of it. I didn't get to go to my first choice university. I went to a state school, the one I could afford while working 2 jobs. I took out student loans. I spent my 20s eating instant noodles and budgeting every single dollar, clawing my way out of the debt they put me in. And when I finally graduated, when I got my first real job offer at the tech firm, I called my mother, Sharon, my voice shaking with pride. She didn't say congratulations. She said, oh, wonderful. Now you can finally start helping Evan with his next project. I was standing in my kitchen, my hands shaking not from fear, but from a cold, electric clarity. Then came the text from my mother, Evan and Chloe can move in. It all flashed back to 6 months ago, the turning point. I had gotten an email from a law firm. My great-aunt, Z. Judith, had passed away. She was the 72-year-old black sheep of the family, the one who moved to Oregon and was only spoken of in hushed, disapproving tones. She was like me, an outsider, and she left me $120,000. It was a signal. It was a weapon. It was an escape hatch. I told no one. Not a soul. I didn't put the money in my savings account where my father still had viewing access. Instead, I filed for an LLC Saguaro Holdings, a corporation, a shield. My name did not appear on the public documents. I opened a business bank account and wired the entire inheritance into it. Then I started looking not for getaway, as my mother called it, but for a fortress. I found it in the high desert, 2 hours outside Phoenix. The listing called it a mid-century modern casita with potential. The reality, a ruin. A leaking roof, cracked windows, decades of neglect. It was perfect. I bought it in cash through the LLC. For the next 3 months, I drove up every weekend. I patched the roof. I installed drywall. I tore out the old carpets with my bare hands. I put in steel frame doors, commercial-grade deadbolts, and smart cameras covering every inch of the perimeter. When I was done, I stood in the walled courtyard, breathing in the smell of desert rain, the sharp, clean scent of sage and creosote. That was the smell of my freedom. And now, standing in that same courtyard, my phone rang. The group chat had been the announcement. This was the follow-up. My father, Brian, I let it ring 3 times. Then I answered. Hello, O'Reilly. His voice was calm, rational, and devoid of warmth, the voice he used when he planned to steamroll me. I saw your mother's text. We're all very excited. I waited. Silence a weapon he never learned to use. Listen, he said, clearing his throat. Evan and Chloe are in a tough spot. You have a 2-bedroom casita. It's a simple, logical alignment of resources. There it was. Be useful, not congratulations, not are you happy? Just be useful. I was not a daughter. I was a resource. The shaking in my hand stopped. Something solid like steel settled inside me. No, I said. Silence, heavy. What did you say? I said no. The house is not available. No one is moving in. That is my final decision. A sharp huff. He wasn't just angry, he was insulted, like a spreadsheet line item had talked back. We'll see about this, he snapped and hung up. For the first time, I didn't feel guilty. I didn't feel sad. I understood. I had violated my role. In a closed family system, each member is forced into a rigid part. It's not about love, it's about maintaining the system's balance. And the system was built around Evan. He dreamed. He failed. He received. I supported. I gave. I cleaned up the mess. By buying that house, by building my own peace, I had committed an act of treason. I knew my no wasn't an answer. It was a declaration of war. I opened my laptop. I searched Best Property Litigation Attorney Sedona. The first result was a minimalist site. The attorney's name was Kira. I called. Kira speaking, she said, her voice clean and cold. My name is Orly. I am the managing member of Saguaro Holdings, LLC. My family is attempting to occupy my property against my will. Typing. They have declared their intent, she repeated. Good. That makes this simple. She didn't ask, but it's your family. She didn't ask, have you tried talking to them? They've told you what they're going to do? We will act first. I'm drafting a formal no trespass letter. It will be filed with the county sheriff and recorded against your parcel number. When they show up, you won't be a hysterical daughter. You'll be a representative of a corporation reporting a crime. Relief hit me so hard my knees buckled. What else? I asked. You are the managing member, she said. Reinforce your perimeter. So I drove to a hardware store. I bought 3-inch wood screws and a heavy-gauge steel strike plate. I removed the tiny 1/2-inch screws from my deadbolt, replaced them with the new hardware, and drilled the screws deep into the 2x4 stud behind the frame. When I threw the deadbolt, it made a single heavy thunk. The sound of no, forged in steel. The confrontation came 3 days before Thanksgiving. A motion alert, a white rental SUV, my father, my mother, Evan, Chloe, and a locksmith. With a toolbox. They had planned. They had budgeted. They had come to take my home. The doorbell chimed. My mother smiled at the camera. Orly, honey, open up. Don't be silly. We're family. I said nothing. My father stepped forward. Open it, he ordered the locksmith. The drill whined against the steel plate. It didn't budge. Then came the red and blue lights. A patrol car pulled up, headlights blinding them. Good evening, folks, the deputy said, stepping out. Having some car trouble? My mother immediately transformed. Oh, officer, this is a misunderstanding. This is our daughter's house. She's not well. He looked at her, at the suitcases, at the locksmith's drill. I'm going to need to see identification from all of you. My father bristled. This is a private family matter. It became a property matter, the deputy said, the moment your locksmith pulled out a drill. He checked his clipboard. Well, he said, good news and bad news. Good news, I know exactly what's happening. Bad news, this property isn't owned by Orly. It belongs to Saguaro Holdings, LLC. And I've got a filed no trespass order against all three of you. My mother's face collapsed. An LLC? That's just paperwork. Ma'am, the deputy said flatly, there is no family right in criminal trespass. He turned to the locksmith. You're lucky I'm not arresting you. They were ordered off the mountain. They drove away in silence. The fortress held. Thanksgiving passed quietly. I thought the war was over. It wasn't. Next came a Facebook post my mother bragging about Evan and Chloe finding a quiet desert home to start over. Then a change of address form with my address. Then a fraudulent mechanic's lien claiming $50,000 in fake repairs. They weren't breaking in, they were trying to legally invade. Kira filed motions. Court was set for January. On New Year's Eve, I had friends over witnesses. Then motion detected. 2 SUVs, my family. A mediator. We're here to resolve Brian's financial claim, he said. You're trespassing, I replied. Evan scoffed. You think this matters? You're alone. We're family. I didn't flinch. I'm not alone. A uniformed officer stepped into the courtyard light. You are in violation of a no trespass order and are being cited for financial fraud, he announced, handing them envelopes. You are served. Chloe broke down. I told you I wouldn't do this. She screamed at Evan before running to the car. The family unit cracked open. They left in silence. I shut my steel door and turned to the people who stayed my true family. The desert air was clear. Peace had a sound, and I finally heard it. This is for anyone who was ever treated as a resource instead of a person. Your peace isn't given. It's built with boundaries, with courage, and with the power to say no. You are not alone.